If I may, breaking news. James Comer went over and he reviewed the documents. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the documents. Documents have been reviewed. There is the reviewing of the documents that are under review and have been reviewed and are now up on top of the review, and he's under the review at some point. I don't know. Maybe Christian side hugged the review process. Who can say? It's all filth. Anyways, Comer comes out and they cut to him on Newsmax. And I'm just as fascinated by what he's going to say, I'm sure, as you are. Let's find out.
All right, a live look for you at Capitol Hill. We're going to listen in now. James Comer, as promised, is giving that news conference. He just read that document from the FBI. Let's listen in.
Oh, so we don't get to read the document from the FBI? What's the document? The document, I think what he's talking about, if I'm not mistaken, is the document going, this thing you're looking for is part of an ongoing investigation, so we can't share it with you because you'll fuck up the whole case, and the person we might want to indict later will go free. And they're like, we don't care. We need this politically. So we would like that document so we can try him in the court of public opinion or shame his son or something like that. And even if it turns out to be nothing or something minor you could have convicted him on later, we would like to mess that whole process.
And is currently being used in an ongoing investigation. The confidential human source who provided information about then Vice President Biden being involved in a criminal bribery scheme is a trusted, highly credible informant who has been used.
These are his notes.
By the FBI for over 10 years.
By the way, yes, the FBI has used this confidential human source for over 10 years. And I guess we're trusting the FBI now. Now the FBI, when, obviously on January 6th, any FBI agent anywhere within it is obviously the instigator. This is the argument I would like to. How can Comer explain to me that this FBI informant did not indeed attempt to entrap Joseph Robinette Biden or Hunter Biden or James Biden or Shemp Biden or Zeppo Biden into a giant bribery scheme and goes, I know they've been engaged in talking about a bribery scheme because I brought it up. They said no, but I still brought it up and they heard it. So I know that the word bribery was presented to them and they didn't shoot me, so therefore they're guilty. All of a sudden, a single FBI source, dozens of people that the FBI was using as sources for January 6th attackers, who videoed themselves, by the way, attacking police and are guilty as shit. But in this particular case, this invisible dude, we're supposed to go, yeah, oh, totally, he's the man. Christopher Steele's obviously magically full of shit. This guy, money. You know how we know? Because he wouldn't want to ruin. He would not want to ruin his good name, which is. Don't know. Nobody says.
And has been paid over 6 figures.
6 figures in 10 years. Cool.
These are facts and no amount of spin and frankly lies from the White House or congressional Democrats can change this information.
What? It's not information. It's again, if informants were all you needed to convict people, January 6th would have been a lot easier. And apparently, you guys think every one of those people should be set loose, even if they filmed themselves beating cops.
At the briefing, the FBI again refused to hand over the unclassified record to the custody of the House Oversight Committee.
Why wouldn't you just review it and take notes? Why would you want them to hand over evidence? They have a smoking gun. It's not smoking, and it's actually a knife. It's not a gun, and there are no fingerprints on it. But they wouldn't give us it so that we could walk over, pretend to shake hands with Biden, slip the knife in his hand, and so that he grabs it, goes, "What are you doing?" And then run it back over in a bag and go, "Ha ha, murder weapon!" Like, So stupid.
And we will now initiate contempt of Congress hearings this Thursday.
Great, super exciting. This Thursday, must-see TV. I thought they were going to just order contempt of Congress. Wasn't McCarthy saying he was just going to hold him in contempt? Now they've got to have hearings about it. And what's the hearing going to do? Have them come down and explain to you that we can't talk about an ongoing investigation?
Given the severity and complexity of the allegations contained within this record, Congress must investigate further. Americans have lost trust in the FBI's ability to enforce the law impartially and demand answers, transparency, and...
Yeah, I don't think they have. And I think actually this reaffirms that you guys can't just roll in and for political purposes try to insert yourself into something.
Accountability. The investigation is not dead. This is only the...
Yeah, okay. All right. If he has to say that, it's dead. That's quite the statement. He might as well have just said this outrageous investigation is not dead. The fact that some people around him who saw that document around him were like, this is dead in the water. And he's like, ah, shit.
Beginning. It appears this investigation is part of an ongoing investigation, which I assume
will be investigated.
Is in Delaware.
Which I assume is in Delaware. Okay, then you're talking about the Delaware stuff is whether or not Hunter Biden paid full taxes on shit. Something Trump brags about. Oh God.
The Oversight Committee will follow the fact.
It's in if it's in Delaware, drive down there and pick it up, man. State's not even that big.
Follow the facts and be transparent to the American people with our findings. I'll be happy to answer a couple questions. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Questions. Let's get the grill on.
Talking about, Congressman Comer, are we talking about just one document, or are we talking about several documents? And what could these documents actually hold?
Well, they could hold plans for a Biden Mars colony where they will mine all the gold out of Mars and turn it into inverted crosses and sell them to Satanists. It could, not likely.
They end up showing more Biden family business dealings with other countries.
This document.
Sure. It could also show that Comer's been wasting his life. Occam's razor being what it is.
It was dated, I think you all know this, from the subpoena, July 30th, 2020. The claims made in the document are consistent with what we found and disclosed to you all in Romania.
In Romania? Did he go to Romania? Yes, and by the way, finally we're getting to the bottom of Romania Contra. What's it called? The Romanian plumbers. The attack. I'm just saying, I think it's a mistake that Biden's apparently hiring Andrew Tate to represent him.
It suggests a pattern of bribery where payments would be made.
Oh, it suggests. Well, dear God, I please stop with the legalese.
Through shell accounts and multiple banks. There's a term for that. It's called money laundering. That, again, is what the majority of the suspicious activity reports also said. So we feel that this accusation is consistent with the pattern that we're seeing, frankly, in other countries too.
And by the way, you haven't taken crazy pills. This is the exact same statement he makes every time nothing happens. It's almost word for word, like right after the Durham report came out and went.
And multiple documents?
We believe there are multiple documents.
We believe there are multiple documents in our hearts.
Mr. Chair, why do you need the document at hand? You just got a chance to view it, so why do you need it, and why move forward with consent when the FBI says they're cooperating in good faith?
Well, let's just look at what I've read in a lot of the media accounts, and with statements that Ian Sams has made from the White House that, there's no merit to this, this is crazy, this is a conspiracy theory. And you're just supposed to take my word or the FBI's word. I'm supposed to take the FBI's word that they're investigating this, or that you're going to write that the source is unverified. Whatever. Remember, the main reason they're not wanting to make this public is because they're concerned about the source, the highly credible, and I haven't read that in a lot of outlets, the highly credible source that's been with the...
Well, yeah, because they can't say that not knowing who the source is, and you're not going to say the source, and you can't find the source. And it seems like something that was written in July 2020 and put in at the FBI by the Trump administration in an attempt to take down Biden before the election. That's why.
Been with the Bureau since the Obama administration. One more question.
So, and by the way, thank you for using the period that Obama was president as a trust point in our national politics. It's very big of you, Comer.
One more question.
Thank you very much, Chairman Comer. In addition to initiating contempt proceedings, do you plan to, or do you expect in the near future, refer criminal charges to the DOJ despite the DOJ's?
Right now, we want the Form 1023. We believe, due to the fact that it is not classified, this is not a classified document, that this is an important part of our investigation.
He just read what it says.
And we want to have this document in hand. I'll do it. Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. Let me see this. Form 1023. Okay. I think electronic recognition exemption for federal income tax under. Huh? Wait a second. So he's seeking out a Form 1023. Hold on.
Important part of our investigation, and we want to have this document in hand. This is an important. We believe, due to the fact that it is not classified, this
For criminal charges to the DOJ despite the DOJ's?
right now we want the Form 1023.
Form 1023. Application for recognition of exemption under 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. Is that what he's fucking talking about? This all boils down to whether or not something was a charity or not in this 1023? Are we getting into like Clinton Foundation territory where they're just like, if Trump can't have a charity, nobody can? Yeah, organizations must electronically file this form for recognition of exemption from federal tax under Section 501c3. Is there another 10? Anybody know? 1023? No, it's a different form? Okay. Yeah, the religious, yeah. The FD, okay, FT 1023. Okay, let's look at that one then. FD 1023. Whoops. Comer, yeah, here you go. All right. What are FD 23? Okay, here we go. This makes sense. That's his slip of the lip. There you go. What are FD 1023 documents within the FBI? Furries have nothing to do with Florida law, Senator says. Okay, here we go. Get out of here. The FBI defines an FD 1023 as many of the forms FBI uses to collect and catalog information for its law enforcement and national security work. How are they used? By agents to record unverified reporting from a confidential human source. And that confidential human sources information is highly sensitive, which is why they wouldn't want to hand it out. Why is the FBI allegedly not giving them formed? Once protected sources of information says handling over the document would risk the harms to our FBI's confidentiality rules protect against. The agency says Department of Justice policy strictly limits when and how confidential human source information can be provided outside the FBI. They say the policy restrictions have been in place for decades. That's true. How often do they share with the guy? Walter says the forms are rarely shared outside of the FBI. Could they redact it? Yes, they could, but the problem is there would be a source. This could be the source of a bigger investigation. This could be the source of absolutely nothing. Maybe this information went nowhere. We don't necessarily know. Well, that's the thing, is that they don't care if it went nowhere. That's the point. The fact that it went nowhere is immaterial to its value as a political form. They want the copy of some dude inside who's going, I heard they did this thing with the thingy thing.
We believe,
Where'd you hear it from? Alex Jones? Okay.
due to the fact that it is not classified, this is not a classified document, that this is an important part of our investigation, and we want to have this document in hand. I'll do it.
Okay, so they're not really protecting this document because it's the source of an ongoing investigation. They may have followed it up and it didn't go anywhere, and that's the frustration these guys have. They just want the allegation out there that a source may have said, or that they may have even known this guy was, we know this guy, he's usually on the up and up, but if you throw him a couple of bucks, he'll tell the FBI some stuff every so often, and we know this, so we told Trump this, and his people wrote this dude a check in July of 2020, and no harm, no foul. If it works, and if it doesn't, all we need is the dust up. It doesn't even have to go anywhere. We just want the stink of it, because Trump knew he needed another Hillary Clinton moment, like Comey coming out and saying there was more to the email investigation yet to look at. And even though it didn't pan out, it gave him a little bit of an edge. He was just looking across the board for anything where they could just put the stink of it on Biden. Yeah.
What did the FBI have to say about the ongoing investigation? Did they say anything about the nature of it?
All I know is there's an ongoing investigation. They confirmed there's an ongoing investigation using this information.
Yeah, but did they tell you whether it was an investigation over the allegations made in this statement, or an investigation into who may have paid our informant that we use occasionally to bullshit us so extremely in an attempt to sway the election? I mean, that's as reasonable an investigation. That's one of the, and by the way, Comer doesn't care either way. The more logical possibility, considering the lack of evidence that they've gotten so much shit and they still haven't found anything. That part of it makes more sense, that the FBI could be investigating that one of their regular sources all of a sudden started feeding them political bullshit and seemed paid to do it.
I assume that ongoing investigation is in Delaware. I don't know that, but I assume that.
Why? Why would you assume it's in Delaware? Because Biden lives there? Like, what the fuck does, what, you mean Delaware, Romania?
What is your assumption?
I'm sorry?
Can you break down why that's your assumption, or what information you have to support that?
Say that one more time.
Can you break down why that's your assumption? And
Why do you assume it's in Delaware? What reasoning do you have to believe that?
what information you have to support that it's based in Delaware?
I assume it's Delaware. I'll put it like that.
What country?
What the fuck does that mean? We know you assume that. You need to assume that.
For national.
How about this? I assume it's in Kentucky, and it has something to do with the Russian oligarchs and the aluminum plant there. How about that? I'll just assume that is money laundering and bribery while we're just assing you and me.
Mr. Chair, could you take notes today? Were you able to take notes in there?
I took notes on the unclassified portion, but then there was a classified portion I didn't take.
And do you want to have follow-up briefings from the FBI on this? Again,
The ball's in the FBI's court. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, the ball's in their court. They're not even on. I drove by and threw a road apple onto their tennis court. It's up to them now how they want to serve it back to me. Like,
I've been listening to
I mean, stomping out, what a fucking nothing burger. This is fantastic. That's it. This is every time. Every time. Wow. So, but, dude, tell me again how the Mueller report came out with no collusion because of a 4-page PR document that Bill Barr put out, who Trump now hates. Honestly, if you were Bill Barr, if you were Bill Barr, none of you would be watching my show because you wouldn't have a conscience and you'd be completely gross and you wouldn't think me nearly as adorable as you do. But if you actually, if there was a moment where Barr actually realized how much, how shitty Trump treats him and how he accuses him all this stuff. Eventually you'd go, you know what? I've rethought that 4-page summary. I was wrong. There's way more to it than that. People need to read the full Mueller report. I rescind my 4-page statement, right? And I never said no collusion, right? Good Lord. So, anyways, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide.